Hello, how are you? Thank you for waving back. Awesome.
Hello,
Hi. So we have
we're
conquered social
back.
media.
We got this. We'll be able to do it together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One button
Yes.
at a time. Just one button at a time.
Mm-hmm. We got
Absolutely.
this.
So
I'm gonna burn
you're
my
in
Palo Santo here.
you're
I
in
am.
Montreal, right?
I'm in Montreal. Hi
How is
everybody.
how is the weather there? Is it chilly?
The weather in Montreal has mixed feelings. It's confused and a little bit bipolar.
Just
Yeah.
like New England. Just like New England.
Oh.
It's like beautiful one day, then it's like cold, and then it's all over the place.
Yeah, well, today, like let's say 2 days ago, it was super warm. I think it was like 15 degrees. It felt like it was 15 degrees. We don't use Fahrenheit here, we use Celsius. So I'm
Hmm.
not sure to what that would translate. I can Google it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not a math nerd at all. I could not tell you the conversions.
no, I'm going to tell you because it's hard. Because you guys are the only country in the world to that use Fahrenheit, so we have to
Yep.
adjust to you. So
We're
let's say
just
it was 10
we're like
degrees,
that.
it was 50 Fahrenheit. And then the next day it was like 26. So and then it
Mm.
snowed and then it was
You guys
nice
had snow
today. So
already.
yeah, we had snow actually like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then it got really warm, like almost like spring, and then it got cold again. So because of like global warming and so many things happening, the weather is constantly changing. And on top of that,
Absolutely.
Montreal is an island, so the weather is it varies. It's humid. It's just different, but it's really nice though.
Well, with that kind of up and down and transition, it kind of really goes into our topic today. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for spending this Tuesday with us. And we're talking with, I have Andreina Cologne here, and we're talking about spirituality, personal growth, and self awareness, and how it relates to this COVID time, as it definitely throws a monkey wrench in some of our growth and all of that. And so we'll kind of travel through that through this conversation. So as we go through, feel free to add your questions to the comments or using the question button and jump into the conversation. But
hmm
before we jump too far into the conversation, are you a well, since it's Thanksgiving week, I have a scenario here for you. So it's Thanksgiving, you've eaten all the yummies, it's time for dessert. Are you getting coffee or tea with your dessert?
Tea.
Okay, tea. How do you make
Yeah.
your tea? What kind of tea do you like?
I just kind of started making up this my own version of chai tea with this like um, how do you call it? It's like this very spiced up kind of like Indian tea, and then I put
Yeah,
some Greek honey in it, and then some almond milk, and it's just delicious. It's been my thing lately.
that sounds like fantastic, like really nice and like warming, especially during these kind of days
hmm
where it's a little chilled, it's kind of fallish, transitioning into winter. So that sounds
Yeah,
nice. You'll have to like shoot me over the recipe.
I will.
So,
You'll enjoy it. It's kind of like a chai.
oh, I love it. I love like the spices of the chai, like the cardamom and the cinnamon. It's just nice and
hmm
really nutty.
Yeah, similar.
So let me ask you. So I'm so glad we connected about this. And when we were prepping, we talked a lot about like light and growth and all of that. But share a little bit about what led you to this topic. Like, why were you so intrigued about like spirituality and personal growth and self-awareness? What was like special for you for that about that?
Um, I think that for me, spirituality came in a time where I needed answers. I had just gone through some really deep pain in my life, and I was in a place where I needed to understand life from a deeper level. And this is where
Mm,
I was really open and receptive to receiving all this information. And when I met a friend who was very deeply into spirituality, and we got to spend a lot of time together, and he really opened up my mind to these concepts of meditation, chakras, life after death, angels, and a different way of even perceiving religion and the spirituality within the religions and stuff like that. So I think that at that time in 2011, 2012 was a time where I needed to have a deeper understanding of things to kind of get some sense in my life of what was happening. And this is where when I really opened myself up to these concepts.
I love
Yeah.
how you talked about being open because I think that, no matter what your spiritual belief or religion is, I think you definitely have to be open to receiving a word from, like for me, I believe in like my faith base is like believing in God and the Holy Spirit. And so like you have to definitely be open to receiving, especially when you are, like you said, in a place of vulnerability or a space of just emptiness. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that it relates beautifully to like this COVID time when there have been periods of extreme loss and like emptiness and uncertainty. And so like I love how you talk about you needed to receive and be open to something new. I think that's like
Mm-hmm.
the key to spirituality.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And sadly enough, it's really sad to say, but humans, we often learn through extreme pain.
Mm.
So when you're in extreme pain, then you just want to have something to grab on to give you comfort. And
Mhm.
at that time, that was what made the most sense to me. I think that growing up, I think that this goes hand in hand with religion in the sense that there is spirituality within all of the religion, and what brings together all of the religions is the spiritual aspect of it. But growing up in a household where pretty much growing up, personally, you were more taught to be afraid of the Lord rather than to sit in His grace and to receive all the positive messages. So when I only looked up about at the spiritual aspect of it, it gave me a lot of peace and a different understanding. And really, it wasn't necessarily true Christianity. It was in it with different wording, but essentially it was the same message. So it,
Mm.
it allowed me to really receive that easily because it wasn't from something that I already had um, a negative
Kind of, yeah.
idea about. Yeah, because of growing up in that environment.
Absolutely. And I laugh because I remember like being a kid and like going to church and like they would always paint God as like someone to be afraid of. Like you were like half afraid to go into church, like if you took the cookies out the cookie jar without asking, because and it was
Oh.
they paint God as like, like this evil person. And you're exactly right. When you look at religion and spirituality from a different perspective of that love and that peace that you talked about, it gives you a very different perspective on how you engage with religion and spirituality. And I
Mhm.
think that going through this year of COVID, we all had to challenge our faith base because churches, whatever your
Mhm.
religion was shut down, and so you had to really become introspective and really say, okay, like where do I stand with my maker, and really create this relationship because you didn't really have that connection for a while when everything was shut down.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And putting aside all of the negative things that happened due to this event,
Mm-hmm.
there's this really important event that happened where it allowed all of the people that never had the time to really turn to themselves. They didn't have a choice
Mm-hmm.
but to turn to themselves. And this is why you have such a big community of people now reaching out and wanting to learn more about these things, like what is an essential oil, or, what is this thing called synchronicity? Why am I seeing all these repeating numbers? All of a sudden they're interested, in sage and in Palo Santo, and they want to find ways to ease all of these things that are coming up because they never had the time to deal with it. Because
Mm-hmm.
before these events on our everyday lives, what would happen is that, okay, you wake up, let's say at 8 a.m., you have to get ready to work because let's say at 9:30, 10 o'clock, you have to be at work. So you have to get up, get ready, get to work. By 10 o'clock, you're at work. You're there possibly until 6 o'clock. Then you get home. It's maybe like 7, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. You eat, and then you want to have a moment for yourself, but then you're so tired and you already have to get ready again to go back to
Yep.
work. So you never really have a moment for yourself unless unless this is something that you kind of has been growing within yourself for a while. If you don't take a moment to think about these things, by the time that you'll finally have a moment for yourself, which is like at 10 o'clock, then you already have to go to bed because you're exhausted. You just want to stop thinking
Yeah.
about everything that's happening on your everyday life. So the fact that there was a complete shutdown and that everybody didn't have a choice but to sit with themselves and to listen to their voices and to listen to their emotions that were coming up, then it really allowed people to start questioning themselves on their faith and to see where they're gonna find the strength to go through all these things.
I love that. And I love that this COVID experience translates no matter where you are, because it really, exactly what you said, it's just, it was like this hamster wheel, you want to set time for yourself, but you're getting up and you have to go to work and you have to go over here and you have to do that. And so you're on this hamster wheel and you have this brief awareness of yourself and what you want, but you're never really attaining it. And with COVID and everything shutting down and really having to be home, it was like you got to look in yourself and look and see what you need. What do you need to cope? Where do you stand with your own self? How do you feel about yourself? It was really a great time to just be with you and see what you need,
Mm-hmm.
explore those different avenues that you talked about. And so can you share a little bit about like your journey through COVID and how you grew and had more awareness through this time?
I think that by the time that I had that very like tragic event that happened in my life, I was pretty much open to it, and so ever since I've just been absorbing it in many different ways,
Mm,
and just learning through those 8 years. It's been like 8 years since I got into this, and so my journey has just been pretty much preparing to be more and more immersed in it and be
mm,
preparing a life of just this. So learning so enough about it to be able to help other people and let go of whatever I thought was for me before, like the jobs that I was doing before or the lifestyle that I had before, and really go through so many different levels of karma and releasing karma and finding out within myself what are the things and where are the places where I still have some work to do, and doing the work and
mm.
seeing that it works for myself, so then I would be able to help the people around me or advise the people around me. So it's really going towards that journey for me. So 8 years of on and on and on, endless hours of research, of listening to the same message over and over and over and over again. The message is so simple that we don't want to understand it. Like our brains is like, no, that's not possible, when
Mhm.
it is truly possible. And so to now coming to 2020 and being completely forced to finally leave a profession that no longer resonated with me, and really taking every moment of my life to immerse myself even more deeply in this. And with so many things, I follow astrology, with so many things happening cosmically, really taking advantage of those key moments to really go deep and dig out all of these emotions that needed attention, all of these deep-rooted limiting beliefs that needed attention as well, and see and just allow myself to be guided from there, really.
I love so many wonderful things that you shared in there, especially about employment. I think that hits home for a lot of people because I feel like people were in this crossroads of either being let go from a job, losing a job, or having an opportunity to explore different careers because everything shifted. The job market shifted. You might have shifted from being, in a physical location to being at home. You got to really say, hey, I like this part of my job. I don't like this part of my job. It was a time to slow down and really investigate what do you want to do career wise. And,
Mm-hmm.
that awareness, there's so many different parts of us, and I think that we get
Mm-hmm.
caught up in the reality part of us where we have to go to work, we have to take care of our responsibilities, we have to do this, but we really had an opportunity to say, well, what do I need, what do I want?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think that was trying to take the strength out of this hard situation, the beauty of COVID, that you really got to see what do I need and what do I want.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And really take a step back. And I think that one important part of these things, and this is a subject that my friends, they're watching and they know it's something that I keep on repeating, is really what are your beliefs and where are they coming from? Are they actually your
Mm-hmm.
beliefs? Are they really coming from you? Or are they, when you say, I need to pay my bills and I need to work and I need to do all these things, yes, they are necessary. And money, believe me, it's extremely necessary for you to survive in this every day, in this life that we have today. But then the choices that we take in which ways that we're going to get that money, is it really our true authentic self, creative self, or have we been
Mm-hmm.
repressing these things and just pretty much following what society and our families and our parents have been telling us to do because that's what they went through and this is what they know, so they're really imposing these things on us, or society is imposing it on us, and maybe we don't have that confidence, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us, to just be like, I'm gonna be the black sheep and I'm gonna go against what everybody is saying, and I'm gonna go in my own direction, and I'm gonna follow my dreams, and I'm gonna express my creativity and my artistic, powers, or my healing powers. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be a healer. It takes a lot of courage for you to go out there and go against, being like, oh yeah, my mom wants me to be a nurse and I'm studying to be a nurse. But in reality, yes, I love healing people, but I like to heal people more on an energetic level and really getting deep into what caused you to be sick in the first place. So a lot of people will be ignoring these things. And I think that during the time that we had to be by ourselves, a lot of people came to realize that the jobs that they were working no longer resonated with them. And that's why you see so many people, small businesses, small entrepreneurs, so many people proclaiming out there that they're healers, that they are, taking some special course like Reiki, or that they're, selling something that they believe in. And this is something really beautiful that happened for all of us, that we're recreating a new system of economy that in the next maybe like the next year, 5, 10 years is going to be completely different than what it is today. And hopefully more and more people will start listening to their inner truths. And instead of listening to what other people want, they recognize what are their talents, and they make that talent their source of income. So
I
yeah.
love that. I think that it was so good. It was so good because you're completely right. I think that it was a beautiful slowdown in the sense, and I don't mean that as a way that is negative for people that really struggled with a loss of income and things
Mhm.
like that. But there were so many people that popped up with like, hey, I gotta find a way to make money. So like I've been wanting to make jewelry. So you see all these people popping up on Instagram like, hey, I have jewelry to sell. Or, even like with podcasting, getting people to really be serious about their podcasting and
Mhm.
using that as a creative outlet. And I am really interested to see where the economy and careers go in the next couple of years because people whether it was like if you already had a small business, they really had to say, okay, how do I remarket this? How do I make it more sellable? How do I reach more people? And so you had people be forced to be creative. And I don't think there was always that time before to be creative, even with
Mm-hmm.
your personal self, just to explore that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think seeing people and their growth through this time. And you also talked about questioning people's beliefs and questioning, okay, am I believing this because I believe it or because I'm being told to believe it? I think this definitely has been a year where people challenge their beliefs. They had to do their own research. And I talk about that a lot on the podcast in regards to politics, having to really like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, investigate more and having the time to investigate more and having time to search out
Mm-hmm.
these people more. And so, again, that introspective nature that we got to have was truly a blessing, but it could also be a curse because you can take it far left and be overthinking and overcritical of yourself. Has that happened to you, or have you seen that with others where they're just becoming too critical of themselves because they have so much time?
Too much time. Um, Before I answer that question, I just wanted to make one small point about the future of our economy.
Mm-hmm.
And is that it is in your control, it is in our control. We should support the people that are coming up and that are saying, hey, now I'm doing this. Like, we should support our local businesses and the people that are
Mm-hmm.
going out there and that they're taking all of their little economies or their courage to come out with their line of products, or encourage whoever's doing their podcast. And even maybe if they don't have a lot of viewers or they don't have a lot of followers, still encourage them, because this is what's going to create the better tomorrow. All these people that are coming out with their voices, but they're coming out with their creativity, we are going to have the control if we decide collectively. Is that how
Yes.
you say? Yeah, if we decide, we're gonna have the control of how the economy is gonna go to a certain percent, so we can do that. And as far as seeing people being too critical of themselves because they have too much time in their hands, to tell you the truth, it's not something that I have been experiencing with my surroundings. I've more been seeing people looking deep within, like I was saying, and transforming into more of their true selves. So seeking for advice on how to sit more in their power, rather than being too much of a critic to themselves, and really coming to a lot of realization, a lot of epiphanies, a lot of moments where they're like, oh, this whole time I thought that it was this, but it's that. And so a lot of really beautiful moments for the people that have been around me so far.
I love that. And I don't want to skip over your plug for small businesses because I think that's very important because in having like some friends that have small businesses and things like that, I feel like, again, with the pandemic, people were more aware of what it takes for people to have a business and all of that, like you said, putting out and being vulnerable and putting themselves out there for their business. And during the beginning of COVID, we saw a lot of people like shopping local and it was kind of like trendy. And so people were doing that. But as we get into this holiday time, I firmly agree with you to, support, people that are local and, support your friends. If your friends are popping up with something new,
Mm-hmm.
share. And if you're like, hey, that's not, like the best product, give your friend advice, help them grow their business because um,
Mm-hmm.
out there for all of us to really grow and have a platform.
Yeah, and here, you know what, in Montreal, what I've seen the most is people sharing other people's businesses, and I've been
Really?
taking part in that. Yeah, just I don't know if you see on my feed, I'm often sharing like food stuff or whatever it is. If I see that there's somebody that I know, or even if I don't know them, and I can tell from their page that they're just starting, I just share it, just for them to have that encouragement. So it's just important to keep, like here in Montreal, we're people that, what I've been noticing, and it makes me so proud, is that we've been encouraging each other and growing, and all these people that you know, maybe they didn't even have a job before, but then all of a sudden they're receiving the check from the government. We've been pretty blessed. They're receiving the checks from the government, and now they're like, okay, I have some money. What to do with it? You know, and to just bring out something instead of taking that money and using it on something else, they're using it on something productive that's gonna help them.
Mhm.
I think that's beautiful, and that we should really do what we can to encourage the people around us, because it takes, you know, a firm belief or faith, a lot of faith, I would say, for you to take out your idea from your mind and transform it into reality and hope that it's going to help somebody. You know, at the end, it's all about service.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that about you talked about having the government, you know, again, there was a time where, you know, people were getting um here, you know, here it was like so sporadic. You know, some people had positive experience with getting their unemployment, some had to fight, and like here in the States, you know, we're always kind of like stingy, I have to say. But you know, some people were able to, you know, we are. It's one down thing I can't stand. Like we do not
It's
want to
so
like,
sad.
hey,
It's
you
such
want to
a
start
rich
your small business
country.
here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just love how you talked about just kind of like taking lemons and making lemonade. You know, if you received, you know, money and being able to turn it, if you had extra time, you know, you turned it into a business. And so I think those were just awesome, awesome points that you made.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Um, and I love just like the energy of Montreal. I went years ago and it was just beautiful. And I
Yeah.
just feel like in Canada, it's just more collaborative. I felt like there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like small businesses and it was just a different energy that's there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Montreal, we're very multicultural. Here, you'll be able to eat food from nearly any country in the world.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're very inclusive here. We welcome people very easily, and we're very friendly and kind of like hippie, and it's a nice place to come.
Absolutely. That's right, Claire. Canada
Yeah.
for the win. Depending on how things went with the selection, I was like, okay, Canada, I can go there.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome. Like I told you, we're very welcome. We're very kind people here. For the most part, you know, I can't speak for myself and for the experiences that I've had and from the experiences that other people have given testimony of, but that's why I say that. I don't know what, and remember something important before I continue. You receive what you give. So if
Mhm.
you're having a lot negative energy and that you're giving out, this is what you'll receive. So your experience truly only depends on you. So wherever you
Mhm.
go, and even if you're still at home and in your living room, whatever you're receiving right now is really what you're giving out. So think about it whenever you're experiencing something that is less, mm, that's something that you would like to experience less of. Think
Absolutely.
about what you're projecting. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, energy is important and it's about, it all ties in with, you know, personal growth and self-awareness. If you are being more on the depressed side, you'll have that outlook and you'll see sadness wherever you look. If you're feeling a little bit
Yeah.
more anxious, so you'll be seeing like, oh, there's a reason to be anxious everywhere. Like the missed phone call will be a sign of danger. And it's like, if you change your outlook, if you change how you want to receive and have that come back to you, you'll have a completely different outlook. Kind of like you talked about with the economy and people starting over with their businesses. If they would have just said, well, everything's shut down, woe is me, I'm not going to do anything, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
less open to trying and exploring new things. And so I do think that's absolutely wonderful to remind yourself to shift your
Mm-hmm.
outlook every now and then.
Two?
To shift your outlook every now and again.
Yeah. Sorry, you cut at the same time that you said. Yeah, it's super important. I think that for your everyday life, like just not, yes, it's important for the businesses, but also on your everyday life, the relationships that you're having with people, and even when you encounter whoever it is on the street, whatever situation that you're going through, um, if you really look at it from the perspective that we're really creating the realities that we're living,
Mm.
then you mustn't look at the person, what they're doing to you, but more at how are you attracting that into your life. You know, what are the things that are repeating, that I'm repeating in my mind? Uh, like, am I judging? Am I criticizing? Then how am I judging and
Mhm.
criticizing myself? You know, or if you feel judged or criticized, how am I creating that within myself? You know, maybe you're there's something about communication that there's only a percentage of it that you understand because it depends how you're perceiving it.
Mhm.
And even us talking right now and whatever the people are understanding it, it's all individual.
Mhm.
There's a concept that we all grasp, but whatever I'm seeing, it's really coming from my experience, you know, and whatever you're seeing is coming from your experience. So maybe somebody giving you a comment, you're going to perceive it as a negative comment, but the person is actually really encouraging you on their inside, but you can't know that, right?
Mhm.
So it's really important to be aware of that, that whatever is coming to us from the outside, um, it's really us creating it from the inside. Because on the
Absolutely.
outside of us, yeah, on the outside of us, in reality, this is a concept that is a little bit hard for people to listen to, but nothing has a meaning in the sense that, let's say this pen, it doesn't have a meaning to anybody. But if for me, this pen was gifted to me by my great 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 grandmother, I automatically gave it a sentimental meaning to it. So it's the most important pen in my life, you know? So it goes the same for anything, you know? At the end of the day, a knife is a knife. Nobody cares about it. But if it's the knife that, you know, you cooked all these wonderful meals for all of your families and it's been there for generations, then it has this different meaning to it, you know? And so even our relationships, to one person, okay, this is just my friend, but then to you is a friend that helped you get through so many things. So it's an important relationship, you know? So if this person tomorrow doesn't talk to you, maybe it's going to affect you more than the person who really didn't have that connection with that person, and it's not going to affect them that much. So we have to understand that we're the ones giving meaning to the things that are outside of us, you know?
Mm.
So, yeah. And so it's important to keep that in mind whenever we analyze the things that are happening around us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, I'm smiling because through this process of COVID, again, where you have all these distractions that are out, I noticed patterns about myself. Like, I tend sometimes to have a negative outlook, like, oh, here comes trouble. And I've really been working, especially the last couple of weeks, of catching that because I thought like one phone call was going to be negative and it wasn't even negative. It was like positive and something like that. And so again, like catching that, because I'm like, I spent a good 15 minutes like worrying about this phone call, and it wasn't even like that. So I'm like, okay, like catching that and really shifting and reframing my thoughts. Um, and again, that having that awareness, like there are things that you have to be aware of, but again, fine tuning that within yourself so that way you are not feeling triggered when there's no trigger there.
Mm-hmm, exactly, yeah. If you're just a little bit aware of, oh, I'm having a negative emotion about this. And then that moment that you gave it attention, it could easily dissipate. It can easily be, you know, disappear
Mhm.
because you're being aware that you're having a negative emotion about something. So I think that's really good that you brought that up, that you were like, oh yeah, like why am I being, you know, stressed about this? What's the reason behind this? And you know what? That doesn't come just from that phone call. It has a deeper meaning to it.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I do when I find myself in that situation, is, and it's an advice for everybody, and it goes for any subject and any theme of your life, which is when you find yourself in that, you know, distressful situation or that negative situation within yourself, you ask yourself, why is this here? Where is it coming from? Like, how come I'm feeling these things? You can speak it out, but the best thing that you could do is grab a pen and a paper and write about it. Because this is when you'll receive your true answers. And as soon as you write it, you won't have, well, if you write down something that is not the truth, you're only lying to yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
then it'll keep on repeating itself in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment that you write it down, your second mind or your chatter mind can't come, or your ego can't come and convince you that it's not true, because you already put it down and that was your first truth, you know? So then after that, it's out of your mind, then you can have a perspective on it. And many of the times when you get it out of your mind, you don't think about it anymore, because the mind feels like it has a place where it can be stored in the meantime in case that you want to go back to that. So you kind of forget about it, or you heal that
Mm-hmm.
through writing, through getting it out
Absolutely.
of yourself, through understanding yourself, through asking yourself the question and writing it down. I'm a firm believer that you can heal a lot, or almost any emotional pain within yourself, because you're becoming aware of where it's coming from, why it's there, and you're asking it questions even as to how to heal it. And then you'll know how to heal yourself, because all of the answers and everything that you need is already within yourself. So
I'm a
taking
firm believer.
small steps, hmm yeah,
I'm a
taking small
firm
steps
believer.
like these, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna end it with saying, like, taking small steps, like just questioning yourself and noticing when you're feeling something within yourself and not ignoring it. Now we have so much time within our hands. Don't ignore it. Take a moment. You don't need to have a journal. You can write on your computer if you feel like it's better, but I recommend handwriting. Or you can take any piece of paper, any pen, anything, just get it out, and automatically you'll feel better about it. I believe that because it's something that I've experienced in my life, and I think that it's helped me tremendously, and I know that other people around me too. And it's an advice that's not just given by me, it's an advice that I've taken from, many, many, many successful people in the sense of spirituality, of their finances, of their careers, family life, relationships. They always talk about, if they have something in common that I can identify quickly like that, is the fact that they journal, and they keep track of what's going on within themselves.
Absolutely. And I think that we dismiss awareness. It's kind of like you said, when things are simple, we just dismiss it. But just by checking in with yourself, just by saying, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling about this? How was I affected? Just kind of like when you notice things are off in yourself, when you notice things that bring you joy, just checking in with yourself is a great way to see, are you doing things that really truly serve you? Are you doing things that cause
Mm-hmm.
you stress? Are you in relationships with people that are causing you stress and not serving you? So I think that's awesome. And then to the point that I firmly believe we have inside of us everything we need to get through this journey we call life. It's already in us, and we just have to pull it out. And that comes by having awareness, having a deeper sense of spirituality, having that personal growth, by having relationships that feed you and help you to grow. I think that that's absolutely beautiful that you said that, again, within us, we have everything that we need.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And like you said, when you have that awareness about relationships, then slowly but surely you begin to kind of like repel certain friendships or
Mhm.
relationships where you're like, I kind of don't like this vibe. I kind of like don't prefer to be there right now. I
Mhm.
prefer to have this person away from me, because whenever they're close, I just feel like I'm judging myself, or like I'm not my
Mhm.
most authentic self, or they're always bringing me into some projects or um, activities that I don't prefer for myself. Like, let's say that you've been telling yourself, I want to stop drinking for a while, and then you keep on hanging out with the friends that all they do is drinking. When you start to have that awareness about yourself, then you begin to separate yourself from those people. Even if you're going to stay by yourself, you rather be alone and knowing that you're honoring yourself than to be going from friend to friend just to have somebody else, and then you end up destroying yourself in a way.
And I love how you said about honoring yourself. And really, that's what it is. When you have that
Hmm.
self awareness, when you take that time to put yourself first, you really are honoring yourself. And you deserve that. You deserve to be honored the same way you give that to someone else. And it's not a selfish concept.
No,
Like we talk about taking time for ourselves or digging into ourselves as if it's a selfish concept, but it's a needed concept. I would even go to say like a health concept of ensuring that your mental and physical and emotional health. I love that about honoring yourself.
hmm I think that there's this thing about
Hmm.
selfishness. Sorry. Um, I'm gonna, it's a belief that I have. I'm gonna do my best to get it out in a way that everybody will understand. But in reality, it isn't selfish to take time for yourself and to better yourself. It's actually selfish to not do it in the sense
Hmm.
that you're not helping anybody else grow, not even yourself. So you're so attached to a way of seeing things and a way of being that you're being selfish by not wanting to detach from that and actually allowing yourself and the people around you to grow, because when
Hmm.
you separate yourself from these people, they also have a reaction that many times could help them grow as well. So it would be selfish of you to not separate yourself from these people because you're afraid of hurting them, because you're afraid of their comments or judgments, because you're not allowing them to grow as well.
Hmm.
So by you preventing this necessary separation to happen, you're not helping yourself and you're not helping the other person. So in a way, it is more selfish than to be selfless. You're
Hmm.
just you're taking care of yourself, you're becoming one with yourself. We need to have that, that separation, where being one with yourself is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for everybody else. And not to do so, it would be selfish because you're preventing somebody else from growth as well. And
Hmm.
this doesn't come from me, actually. This is an idea that I heard through one of my friends. His
Hmm.
name is David Lyon, who is also the friend who helped me awaken to all of these spiritual concepts and everything. So you can also follow him on Instagram. His name is on Instagram is Lionism, or you just type in David Lyon, and he has a lot of beautiful insights as well on his page and on his YouTube channel.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Awesome. I really love that. And especially, again, it's the end of the year. We've been going through COVID where plans have changed drastically, things that people wanted to accomplish, they maybe didn't accomplish. And you're kind of like at this period of how do I plan for next year? Or how do I feel about myself that I didn't get to accomplish these things? And I really think that you gave us some really great points and insight. This year is not lost. If we gained anything, it's more of an insight about ourselves. It's an insight
Hmm.
into what we need in a side of us maybe we didn't know was there because we were so busy, 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 busy. And so as we kind of come to a close, tell us a little bit about on your page call yourself a light leader. What does that mean?
Light leader. Um, a light leader is basically, I think that if you're watching this right now, you're basically a light leader. It's anybody that's taking consciousness within themselves, that they're, feeling all of these energy shifts, that they're really connecting with themselves, that they're seeing that there's a higher message, a higher power, and that they're expressing it in their own ways. You don't necessarily need to be the one telling the message, but in your everyday life, how are you expressing this message, whether it be through your business, through your art, through your way of being with those around you, which is how are you being from a place of of a self-centered place, that you have a higher awareness of the things that are happening, and you know that there is something happening, and so you're acting in ways that is going to help it ease for everybody else, you know. So you sharing these messages with other people, you're being a light leader, and whoever listens to these messages and imply and uses them in their life or shares it, you're being a light leader. Whoever listens to their inner voice, their passions, their truth, and they express it, in a way, they're being a light leader because they're bringing consciousness to the world, you know. So being a light leader, you know, you can, these themes about being an empath are coming up, about being a spiritual healer, a Reiki healer. There's so many ways to be a healer, but sometimes just being a non-judgmental friend and you know, an open ear, and somebody who's listening without needing to responding, in a way you're leading because you're helping somebody else open up and express themselves as well. So this is also another way of being a light leader, you know. And when you open yourself, you know, to the law of attraction, to the power of your mind, and to all of these beautiful subjects, and if you tell somebody else about it, or if you burn some, you know, sage, or if you listen to some calming music, or if you smell your essential oils, and you just do whatever is good to bring peace within, to bring peace to the body, to help somebody have peace within themselves, to help each other accept ourselves for who we are, to be an encouragement to one another who's trying to, you know, outgrow a past self that no longer serves them. You know, when you're just being that support, and when you're, you know, your girl's like, girl, I don't know what's happening within me, like I'm feeling all fuzzy, and you're like, you know what, like when was the last time you got your energy clean? You know, go see a Reiki healer. Or did you read this book? You know, there's this book that really helped me. It's called, you know, I don't know, The Power of Now by Edgar Tolle, or The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. Or did you listen to Abraham Hicks? She's going to give you a different perspective. Did you hear, you know, Sadhguru or Louise Hay or Wen Dyer? Can go listen to these people. They're for personal help, you know. They're going to help you have a different perspective about everything that's happening in your life. So then you can come through as a light being, you know, as somebody that's going to be a joy to be around, and that's going to bring peace wherever they go. It's going to bring a different perspective. And then I'm not saying go and tell people, try to convince them outside of their faith. No, don't do that. You're going to go through a lot of suffering if you try to do that, because you can't change people through your words. You can't influence people just through your words, you know. You have to influence people by the results that you're bringing into your life. And I think that if today I have, you know, I have a fair amount of friends that come to me, and they don't report to me, but they tell me about their wins and stuff. It's because it's been 8 years that I've been talking about these things, and they've seen how much I've transformed myself and how much my life has transformed as well. And so many beautiful messages that we share that don't necessarily come from me, but that brings them inspiration. That's when now I feel like more and more people are like finally listening. It's like, oh, maybe, you know, I see that some good things are happening for her. You know, what have you been up to? And then I'm like, oh, now you're asking. Well, I've been trying to tell you for 8 years, but since your ears are open now, I've been doing this, and that, and I recommend that you do this and that. And you know, it brings you to a beautiful place where you can be a person that people look to, not up to, but they look to as somebody that maybe it could be a direction that I would want to take. Mm?
I I love it, and I think that is a wonderful place to close, because it's really just about
Mm-hmm.
doing your part to share kindness in the world. And what a beautiful world this can be if we all just did one thing to shed some light. You know, like you said, it's
Mm-hmm.
not about trying to change everyone else. If you start with you, if you start with having that care
Exactly.
about you, if you start checking in with you, you'll be able to pour into someone else. If you're empty inside, if you're bitter, if you're angry, if you're unsatisfied, you can't be there for someone else. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's absolutely wonderful about, again, checking in so that you can spread your light, checking in so you can spread your joy, checking in so you can spread your peace. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Andreina.
Mm-hmm.
That was
It's my
absolutely, that's
pleasure.
right. It starts with self care. It really does. And I think that's really important as we go into this holiday season where, sometimes people are not going to be with their family this Thanksgiving season. And like check in with yourself. It's okay to say that you're not okay with that. It's okay to say that you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
stressed, that you're feeling frustrated. It's okay to have all that, but acknowledge it so that you can deal with it and move on and see, what is it
Mm-hmm.
that you need. As you go
Mm-hmm.
into this new year, where were you frustrated in this year? Where were you unfulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can not bring that into 2021.
Exactly. To see what's at the core of that annoyance that you have that you don't know where it's coming from, And like I said, write about it. Like what's at the core
Mm-hmm.
of, why you didn't even, like, let's say you had personal goals for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the things happening outside of you, okay, they were limiting you, but what was stopping you within yourself, and really get to the core of those things. So like you said, you don't move into 2021 with these energies because you want to start the year off fresh with a new mindset and, with new goals and new ideas about life. And before we go, also for the people that don't know how really it's going to play out the rest of the year or how they're going to plan out what's going to happen for next year, and they're trying to set your goals, but still go day by day and
Mm-hmm.
stay present in the moment and take steps wherever you can take steps. And don't be worried or afraid. At the end, everything is going to be okay if you just stay present with yourself and you focus on the things that you want to see happen in your life. It's so important, especially with like a lot of things. Social media is great when you know how to use a platform. Make sure that you're using the platform with an intention. And if you're watching mainstream media, well, make sure that you don't spend too much time, getting into all that negativity. It's important to know what's happening around the world, but it's all more important than that is important to focus on how you want your world to be, because individually, one by one, we will be able to create the world that we want. And it's not by wanting the other one to change and saying, if he doesn't change, then I can't change. No, because to think that individually you're not affecting the whole is really it's almost like saying ignorant thinking. In a body, we have a bunch of cells. If one cell decides to act out, it creates a cancer within you. We are a cell within the
Mm-hmm.
body of this, we are a cell within the body of our communities and of our earth. So if we decide to work in harmony with ourselves, then we will create more harmony within everyone around us. So just wanted to share that
I
and
love
for people to keep that in mind.
I love that because you're exactly right. Sometimes we get, and like I'm guilty of this, like I know that the end is going to be okay. Like I know like it's going to work out, but it's like that in between place that can be frustrating
Mm-hmm.
for me. It's in those times that I'm trying to be more self-aware and be day by day in this present moment. Am I doing everything I can do in this present moment? And if I can, then what do I need in this present moment to be satisfied? So I think
Mm-hmm.
lovely. Please, you have to come back and share
I think
more. It was awesome.
yes, yeah, I think that we should do this again because even when you were speaking, I'm like, oh, there's something that to say that you're trying implies that you're not doing it. So we have to be careful with our wordings.
Yes,
Like I
yes.
am doing it. Even if you don't not really doing it, the fact that you're saying it, is important. And
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely, I would love to come back and to have some more of these chats with you. It's my
Absolutely.
favorite subject. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I cannot have you leave without doing our coffee and combo closeout question, which is what's in your cup. And listeners, feel free to add into the chat what are three things that are in your cup or you're adding to your cup to get you through your day and your week. So Andreina, while you think of yours, I will give you my three.
Go ahead.
So fun fact, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I will say it's like maybe the only holiday that I celebrate. Like I love it. I plan for it. With COVID, it's a little different. It's much smaller, going to be virtual, but I'm still adding excitement to my cup. I'm like bubbling with excitement. I'm adding gratitude because,
Mm-hmm.
in spite of like everything, there was just so much that I am grateful for. And I'm grateful that I get to have a sense of gratitude because that's not always easy all the time. And then the third thing I'm adding to my cup is rest. I took some
Mm-hmm.
off from the holiday, from work. So I'm really just going to pour into my cup and just recharge from the inside out. I plan to do like a deep condition with my hair tomorrow to start off this weekend. Like I am very ready for rest, excitement, and just all that is just going in my cup.
Yeah,
So what about for
self-care. That's beautiful.
so what about you? What are you adding to your cup to get you through your day and your week?
Well, definitely gratitude is a must. Gratitude is what attracts all of the miracles in your life.
Mm,
So that's definitely the most important thing that you can add to your cup. For myself, it would be excitement, to be excited about all these projects that I'm manifesting into my life, that I'm creating for myself. Just being here, it's like I feel excited to be here. I feel so, grateful, and in everything that I'm gonna be doing in the following weeks, just add a lot of excitement to it, attached with faith. You know,
mm,
faith, active faith, and really taking action towards inspired action,
mm.
inspired thoughts, inspired writing, whatever that comes from inspiration, really taking action with excitement and gratitude that I'm even receiving these messages, that I'm even able to express these things that I've kept within myself for so long. So that's pretty much how I'm going day by day.
And I love it. I love it. And I love that you said active faith. I think sometimes we think faith is like a rest word or like a do nothing word, but it really is an action word. I love it. So we
Hmm.
Clara is adding gratitude, expectation, self-care. I love that. You have to be expecting for something to happen. I love
Yes,
Brittany is adding self-care, confidence, and faith. I love that. You have to
I
be
love
confident
it.
in what you're doing. Even and I sometimes confidence, for me is hard because I try to be humble and I am learning how to be confident and humble because they can't
Hmm.
exist at the same time. So love that.
Well,
Mhm.
Well, you already are humble. It doesn't mean that because you're confident that you
Yeah.
stop being humble, and you don't have to try to be humble because
Mhm.
it's a value that's already within you,
Mhm.
you know? So now to just, I think that you're doing great, like you're being confident on the fact that you're starting this and you're having this channel. It takes a great deal of confidence and courage to do it, So it's more like sometimes we want to sell ourselves short, or we want to, make ourselves small because we want to remain humble, but
Mhm.
it's good to be humble. The thing is that the more success that you have in your life, the more that you're able to help people from a humble place, and the more people that you're able to reach. So it's important to use that solar plexus energy, that confidence within ourselves. And if you don't know what solar plexus is, just look it up. It's a chakra, and it's, a dominant energy force for your confidence, how you're really going forward with your projects and with what attitude you're doing it, and you can be humble and still be confident, so you don't have to choose one or the other. It's important to be confident in the fact that you're humble and
Mhm.
in the fact that you can move worlds if you want to. So it's an idea to sit with.
Andreina, you're just wonderful. You are always welcome on Coffee and Combos. Listeners, thank you
I
for
love
coming. I
it.
hope that your cup is full because my cup is full. Have
Yes.
have an awesome Thanksgiving, Andreina. Have an awesome Thanksgiving, listeners. And remember to check in with yourself and add 3 things to your cup that you need that's going to get you through your day, your week, that moment that you're in. Take care, Andreina.
Take care. Thank you so much for having me. Much love.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Thanks.